You need on-the-go convenience. Novex Smart Hub delivers. Pay your electric bills, view your energy use, report an outage, and receive alerts regarding your account. With Smart Hub, use your credit card with no processing fees. Level out your monthly electric bills by enrolling in budget billing through Smart Hub. Easily access it through Novex mobile app or at novec.com. You're on the go. Novex Smart Hub goes with you.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Our thanks to Ross Tucker for joining in on the conversation. A lot of fun stuff. Ross, the character. I knew that was going to be great, Tommy, when you said that
was awesome.
He was jumping in. He's all over everything. You hear him a lot here with us because he's on a lot of the Westwood One broadcasts. He's a good analyst. He's entertaining. He has fun with it. He reminds me, honestly, Tommy, of so many offensive linemen that I've become friends with over the years at all kinds of different levels because, you know, the personality's there. I sometimes you're like, man, why do we give so much attention to the prima donnas? The offensive line is the place to go. And they do make great analysts. I don't think there's any coincidence with that. So we appreciate Ross's visit there with us here on Sports Daily. You'll be able to go back and listen to that if you missed any of it, including our East Side, West Side conversation. Jimmy 5 says that Ross was great, loved it, but he has to disagree with us. West Side, we Tommy and I are both East Siders, but I don't care.
I do have to clarify. I'm an East Sider, but I work on the West Side, so I have to cross the river every day. So I kind of, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of half and half.
I have businesses.
Is that fair?
I have businesses on both sides of the river. I appreciate both of them greatly, and I'm not even saying that like as a wave, a neutral flag, because I love the rivalry. I think it's fantastic. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. But as an outsider, you come in and everyone's like, "Are you East Side or you West Side?" Literally, the first question I get everywhere I go when we first moved here, and I'm like, "Guys, I don't know where we are. Like, I know nothing about what side I'm on. I'm just trying to figure out how to drive to work every day."
I do have to say, I grew up, so I'm a Wichitan. I grew up in this area. I grew up frequenting the West Side. That was just kind of where we did things. My life was changed when I discovered what the East Side had to offer, and so I guess I consider myself a true East Sider now.
It is like two different cities. I think it's one of the cool things about this city as a whole. And again, we've got great friends on the East Side and the West Side. We've got businesses on both the East Side and the West Side. I've covered schools for a decade on both sides of the river, East Side and West Side. They each has great, suburbs and metro area cities on both sides. I love both. I genuinely mean that, but I don't know that I love it more than the fact that there's this great rivalry between the two sides. I think it's fantastic. And
I've had people tell me before that, that are East Siders, if you cross the river and you go to the West Side, you're essentially in Colorado. That's basically, in their minds, the way that it works. You're basically in Dodge City by the time you go to the West Side.
I won't name drop here, but when I first moved here, my wife and I went to a restaurant, and somebody I worked with, and it's not anybody on air, so you might as well not guess, but I'm still not going to name drop, but somebody that worked in the building, he was like, East Side or West Side? And I was like, I think technically we're on the East Side. We don't really know. And he was like, well, that's good because, it's all the – what term did he use? It was something crazy. And I just kept thinking, like, this has to be like a thing that has been invented over the years. But it was really like something – I probably shouldn't repeat it on the radio, but I was like, whoa. Like, okay. All right, and this was he was at a family dinner, and he just says this out loud, and I'm like, okay, we got a thing here.
And you know what? You can look at, even high schools, like you've got Capon and Carroll, and like there's the rivalry there, East Side, West Side. Like there are several examples of that for sure.
I love it. Mike chimes in, says the West Side has better movie theater. Mike's making our segues for us, which is perfect there. Boulevard Town West is where we're going to give away a pair of movie tickets right now. I think we have just a handful left, and we need to move these today. So Mission Impossible is playing Boulevard Town West. We'll give away another pair of tickets to our first caller, 869-1240. Jad will get that taken care of. So to what Ross was talking about there, I have begun to significantly ponder the idea that Mahomes could be the GOAT. And I think we're to the point now with a second championship where we can start to wonder. Now, he's not caught Brady. He's not caught a lot of people yet. But when you get to 2 and you do the things he does on the field, Tommy, I do think we can begin to wonder about it. I'll have a shift this weekend on CBS Sports Radio across the country. And I may pose this to hear from, because obviously we're connected to Mahomes so closely. We watch him closely, everything like that. I do want to hear what other people think about it, and that's why I ask people like Ross Tucker that question. Like, where is Mahomes in that all-time conversation right now? Clearly far from done with what he'll do in the NFL, but where does it sit right now? Because I think that if we're being honest in the conversation, he already does belong in that. If you could have anybody, who would you take conversation, right? The conversation that includes Brady, maybe includes Manning, includes Elway, right? Includes, Unitas and Staubach and Joe Montana, obviously. Like, I think he's there in that group already, Tommy. And now the question becomes, how much higher can he get? Longevity certainly has a piece of that, but I think we're to the point right now where we should be having that conversation.
I think that right now, if Patrick Mahomes decided that he was done in the NFL today, I think he would go to Canton right now. And he's played 6 seasons in the NFL, right?
Yep.
So, and that doesn't, like, you look at Tom Brady's career, and yeah, like he had Super Bowls early in his career and all of that, but I don't know if after 6 years in the NFL, you could make the argument that Brady, had he retired after 6 years, would have gone to Canton. Maybe, but I think that shows that the path that Mahomes is on, if he can sustain it, I think he can surpass Brady as far as Super Bowl wins and individual accomplishments and all of that. I think it can happen. Will it? I don't know. Time will tell. The one thing about trying to predict that is that you never know the way the injuries are going to happen and things like that. So that makes it really difficult. But I certainly think that, we've talked about it before. The path is there. It's been laid for Mahomes to continue to grow this dynasty to a point to where eventually it does surpass what Tom Brady has done.
If you just look at the first 6 years, which for Brady would be 2001 through 6, right? Statistically, he'd be behind, but the game was a lot different then, too. Yeah. So it's not fair, and I think you do have to look at the wins. And Brady's numbers were good, by the way. He had 2 top 3 MVP finishes in those years.
But I'm not sure
he
it's
really
Hall of Fame worthy after 6 years. Yeah, it was.
He
it
hit
was
his
later
stride more in the 10 years after that, where he had, I think, 2 MVPs, all the Super Bowls. He really started to put up, comic book stats as the league changed and the Patriots sort of changed the way that they played offense and all of those things. And it was good to get Ross Tucker's insight on Brady in those times and why guys like Ross Tucker who played with Brady would ever, like, it's going to be hard when you have that sort of insight into what he brought to the table of ever considering anybody to have that level of whatever it is competitive. And that's where I think Brady and Jordan will always be comparable. But Mahomes has that too, right? Like he watch him play golf in the match and do all of these other things that he does. That's there for him too. 869-1240. Congratulations to all our movie ticket winners today. Short segment here. We went long with Ross, so we'll come back. We'll continue on Sports Daily right after this.
Life comes with a lot of decisions, and it can be hard to know the right path sometimes. A therapist can help you map out what you really want, so you trust yourself to make great choices and feel excited about the future. BetterHelp offers convenient professional online therapy on your schedule, however you want it, by phone, chat, or video call. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/positive today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/positive.
I'm joined by Hall of Famer John Smoltz. Smoltzy, tell me this. What's harder, winning a Cy Young or an Emmy Award?
Oh man, winning a Cy Young. It takes a lot longer to happen. You know, it's funny when you mention something like that. I just go back to all those years of being predicted to win and just feeling like a failure. But in '96, fortunately, I was able to at least get that off my back, because that was starting to bother me.
Download the Brett Boone Podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.